Today I'm going to talk to you about how I practice. But before I get into the details of how, I feel I first have to explain some concepts, which I promise will all make sense in the end. So before we start practicing, we need to learn or understand at least what we're going to practice. I have found that the best method to learn anything is with a 3-period lesson. A few years ago, I used to work in a Montessori school in Greece, and that's where I found out about this technique. The 3-period lesson is used to introduce new ideas or concepts to the student, or even vocabulary. As the title suggests, it consists of 3 parts. The first period is introducing the concept. The second one allows the student to become familiar with the object or concept by identifying it among others. And the third period allows the student to verify their understanding of the new concept or what they have just learned. I'll give you an example, a simple example, so you can see what I mean. Let's say we're trying to learn some basic chords. Let's say C, G, and D. The first period is the introduction of the 3 chords. This is C, this is G, and this is D. The second period is familiarization. Can you show me C? Can you show me G? Can you show me D? If you respond correctly, you can move on to the third period. If not, you have to go back to the first one and do the introduction again. The third period is verifying what you have already learned. So you do that by asking, what is this? G. What is this? C. What is this? D. If you respond incorrectly, then you go back to the previous stage. And that's pretty much the 3-period lesson. I wish I knew this technique when I first started teaching. It would have made my life a lot easier. So now that we got that out of the way, the how to learn, let's move on to the practicing part. You've probably heard of the expression, practice makes perfect, right? Wrong. Practice makes permanent. So be careful not to practice the wrong things, because they will become permanent and then it's very difficult to unlearn and relearn things again. Just remember, perfect practice makes perfect. So how do we perfect practice then? I'm glad you asked. With these practice bowls. This is a practicing method that I learned from a famous French magician. His name is David Stone. Side note, I used to perform magic professionally. He taught this method at one of his seminars that he did for magicians here in Greece. He used to use 2 matchboxes instead, but the concept is exactly the same. So the concept behind this is that you don't want to practice till you get it right. You want to practice until you can't get it wrong. So let's say you want to learn the 5 patterns of the pentatonic minor scale. In one bowl, you have 10 pebbles. The other one is empty. If you play all 5 patterns correctly, then you take 1 pebble from one bowl and put it into the other. But if you make a mistake, then you have to take all pebbles back and put them in the first one and start all over again. Now what that does is it builds some tension and anxiety that, especially when you're towards the end of the pebbles, like pebble number 9, then you tell yourself, you better not screw this up. That builds even more tension. One last thing that I have to address is the difference between practicing and rehearsing. Practicing is systematically attempting to perform a skill that currently you're not good at, and you want to improve, of course. Whereas rehearsing is performing a skill that you have already mastered, and you're just trying to smooth out the rough edges. Most of your time should be allocated towards practicing, at least if you want to improve your skills. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Hit the subscribe button if you want to see more. If you want a copy of the 5 patterns of the pentatonic scale, there's a link in the description below. You can download it for free. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Now go practice.